Hello. This tutorial demonstrates how to set up visualization on the ABB AC500 PLC in Automation Builder. So I am using the AC500 PLC from ABB. I'm using the PM5650 CPU here. And I have two I/O modules. I have the DX571. It's a digital I/O module. So I have digital inputs and digital outputs. Then I have the DA501. It's a mixture of digital and analog IOs. So those are the two modules that I'm working with here. And I have this controller connected to the network where my laptop is connected as well via this Ethernet cable here. So I can upload code and do all sorts of things there. And I'll show you the setup that I have here in my Automation Builder already. So I have a new program here opened, and I'm going to show you how to set up visualization on this AC500 PLC so that you can visualize your process data, configure your PLC, monitor processes in real time and things of the kind. So the first thing we're going to do here is create a simple visualization page to demonstrate this today. So as you can see, my controller here, you can see it's the PM5650 to Ethernet. Has two Ethernets, like you can see from the video feed there, and it's a V3 controller. And I've configured my communication here. So I've given the PLC this address here. This is the address for Ethernet 1. Remember, I have two Ethernet ports there. So connected via Ethernet 1, and this is the IP address of that Ethernet. And if I scan here, you can see that I can find quite easily my PLC, and then I can click OK to establish connection to it. And if I click this button here to turn to green, meaning that connection has been established to my PLC there. Okay, I'll go ahead and add a visualization page. So I click on the PLC. I go to add object. Rather, I click on the application, not the PLC, the application here. I go to add object. And under that, I scroll and select this visualization object here. Click add, give it a name. I'll leave the default name here. Then add that. And you'll see that it has been added to my tree here. And together with that, I've also added a visualization manager and a web visual configuration object. We shall see a little bit on what those are used for, but usually for any visualization, you need to have visualization manager and the web visual is a configuration object that configures how your pages are accessed via the browser. And also a task is added automatically. So you can see this visual task here, also added automatically. These are not added automatically, then you can add them manually. But when you add the first visualization page, then these are usually added as well automatically there. So open my page here. First, I'll set the background to a darker background in order to kind of visualize things a little bit more clearer. I will minimize. I'll make this one smaller a little bit so that we have a view of things here. I'll move it around if it's blocking some objects so that we can visualize everything. So far, we're not working with anything below here, so we are good. So for this example, I'm going to use this virtual joystick object or virtual joystick visual element. It's from the MN Controls Lite library. If you want to work with this joystick, you can easily find it from the Codsys store. And basically, this is a joystick, virtual joystick that you can use to generate some values by moving the joystick around here, as we shall see later. It has some configurations that you have to set. I'll come here, I'll set the radius to 100, meaning that with the across all directions I can get 100. I can read values up to 100. So 100 in the north, south, east, and west. And I'll have to set these variables: x, y, radius, and then angle. So I'll need for variables to represent these for parameters here. So I'll come here to my program unit here, and then I'll just declare for variables. So I'll declare x as int, y as int, y as int, radius as int, and then angle as int. So those are the four variables. Basically, what happens here is when we move the joystick in any position here, we should have the corresponding angle in that very position, the radius from the 0 or from the origin, and then the Cartesian x and y values as well. So for example, if I move it in this direction where my pointer is pointing at this moment, you'll have the angle with respect to the origin, the distance from the origin here, and then the x and y positions, components rather, the Cartesian x and y components. And then we can display those. So basically that is what we've just looked at here. So I'll attach those variables. I'll attach the x variable there, the y as well, the radius, and then lastly down here the angle. And then what we can do as well is we can display those. So as we move the joystick, we should be seeing those values update in real time. So it will be %d. Then I'll set the font to black, font color. Okay, and then I'll set the font itself to something like and then bold, and then some 14, size 14, something like that. And I can duplicate this to make 3 more rectangles, because we're displaying 4 values there. So this will be our angle here. So I'll go to the text variable here, and then I'll attach this angle variable here, and then this will be our radius. Now this one down here will be our x, and this will be our y. Okay, so when we move the joystick here, we should see the corresponding angle with respect to 0, the corresponding radius from the origin, the x component and the y component as well. Now we've created our visualization page. It's ready now, it's complete. Let's go ahead and do some extra configuration so that we can access this page via the web browser. So first, in the visualization manager here, there are a few things that you want to kind of set up. Here you can kind of tune your application to look in a certain way that you want. There is things ranging from image background to lots of things. These are mainly left as default, but you can tune it in a different way. You can set mouse touch handling here, things of the kind, and you can also set the style as well. There are different styles here, so you can set style that you want, but I'm not going to do much there. In the Visualize Web Visual here component, this is where you configure. First of all, If you have multiple visualization pages, you want to set the visualization page that will appear as the main page. So you set that here. So I only have one, so I can only select one. But if I had multiple, then I could select the one that I want to appear as the main, the default page there when I open the application in the web browser. And then here you can also set the name of the home page. I'll leave it up web visual as it is here. You can set the update rate and things of the kind. So you can configure, tune your application accordingly. The other thing I usually want to do is if I click on the page and I go to properties, then I go to visualization tab here, I can configure the size of the page. So you can use a specific size. So you set the length and the width, it's in pixels, or you can use automatic detection if you want the page to adapt to the size of your screen where you're opening the visualization. So it depends on you, depends on your preference. But at the moment, I'll leave it at automatic detection here. Okay, that's it with the visualization here, at least at the moment. The next thing you want to do is you want to configure your web server on the PLC here. Remember, the visualization application runs on the web server on a PLC. And that's how you access the pages via the web browser. They are rendered by the web server that is running on the PLC. So I'll move this up here a little bit, because now we are going to configure our web server. So the first thing you notice here is I have two Ethernet ports. And these two Ethernet ports are both configured with unique IP addresses. I can actually demonstrate here to show you. If I go to tools and say ipconfig, and I scan the Ethernet interfaces on this PLC, you'll see that, okay, I think I might have to go back here and disconnect and then try again. Okay, yeah, that did the trick. So you see that two Ethernet interfaces appear here, two ports, and each port has a unique IP address. So currently I'm connected to port 1. That is the one with the 200 address here. So you always need to know which port you're connected to. And then you configure the appropriate Ethernet interface with the web server. So since now I'm connected to Ethernet port 1, so therefore Ethernet interface 1, that is where I want to set or configure my web server. So to do that, I'll right click on, so under Ethernet here, I expand that and you see the two Ethernet ports, and then Ethernet interfaces rather. And then I select the Ethernet interface 1, right click on that, and then I say add object. And then from this list, I want to select web server. So you select web server, add the web server to the interface here. So now you can see the web server down here. You double click on the web server, and then now you configure how you want your web server to kind of the main configuration parameters for the web server. So first you want to configure the port. The port by default is, the HTTP port is 80, and then the HTTPS port is 443. If you want to use different separate ports, for example, if you're on your computer there is another, or on your PLC there's another service that is using this 80 port, then you can configure it to another port. For example, I can configure this to 8081, like that. And then I'll leave the HTTPS to 443. And then I can save here. I'll try to generate code, make sure I have no errors at this stage. And then since I have no errors, I can go ahead and, so we've created our web visualization application, the web page and the configuration and everything. Now we've added a web server and configured that as well. And now we can go ahead and upload our code. First, we come back and make sure I have connection here. Yeah, that is good. And then now I can go ahead and upload this program to the PLC. So now the program is uploading to the PLC. Okay, now we've uploaded our program. So we've changed the hardware configuration of the PLC. So this will require a reboot. So that is what this notification is saying. So I'll just click OK. And then after clicking OK, if I try to run it right now, it will not run because of the hardware configuration changes that we've made. We need to reboot it. So I'll come here and then I'll just turn off the power supply. Just like that, plug it out and then just plug it in back. So I plug back the power supply there, then I wait for the PLC to reboot. And then after it reboots, we should be able to access that web application or web page via the web browser. So let's wait for that to happen. Okay, PLC has booted successfully and it's in run mode now. So we can go ahead and test out our web visual app. So I'll come here in the web browser, I'll type the IP address of the controller. And then remember it's running on port 8081. And then the default, the home page is WebViso. Like that. And then you can see that now I can access that visualization page here. Now remember we left this to auto detect, so it kind of tries to adapt to the size of the screen here. That's why it's looking a little bit messy, but I mean, just for demonstration, we can of course configure it to look a little bit nicer, but this is just a simple demonstration. Okay, so we can try to start and play around here. Okay, well, this joystick is not functioning the way it's supposed to be. In reality, this button here would have been moving together with my mouse, but the values are updating correctly, so wondering what the issue would be. Anyways, that's not the point of this video anyways. I think it needs more configuration and something to check with it, but at least we can demonstrate that the visualization is working correctly. That's the point of this video. It's not that it's not to prove that the joystick is working. It's just to prove that we can set up the visualization and access our pages via the web browser. So that's basically the goal, and we've kind of achieved that. Actually, when I move the mouse, you can see that the values are changing quite correctly. For example, this is around here we have 0 degrees there. Then we can go up to 90 degrees around here, and then 180, and then 270 here, 270 around there, and then 360. And you can see our radius is basically goes up to 100 like we set it to be. So that's there. And then we get the X and Y components, Cartesian X and Y components. So it's working. It's only that the joystick is not animating the way it's supposed to animate. So maybe it needs more configuration that I can look at a little bit later. But anyways, the goal was to demonstrate how to set up this visualization and access our pages via the web browser, and we have achieved that, and that's a success. So that is it for this tutorial. Let's meet next time. Thank you and have a nice day.